Now, most people travel on a vacation-style health plan. They burn out, they don't eat very well, and eventually the body just stops cooperating. If you treat long-term travel like you're always on holiday, your body's going to eventually stop taking your calls. I'm Joel, and after 6 years of slow travel, I've learned that vacation mode is a trap. So if my wife Michelle and I had tried to live like that for the last 6 years, we'd be broke, burnt out, and probably about 30 pounds heavier. As we start our 7th year of slow travel in July, I've had to accept a hard truth. As much as I love Europe, my knees have reservations. See, when you're traveling for weeks or months at a time, you're not on vacation. You're living your life, just in different postal codes or countries. You need a system that builds a foundation of health in the background so that you can focus on adventures in the foreground. The goal is to soak up the culture, walk those hidden back streets, and wake up without feeling like you just got hit by a bus. So today we are looking at a travel-ready system with 4 daily anchors that will keep you ready and capable for the road, starting right now. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well as our newsletter that comes out weekly and all about the slow travel lifestyle. So first up is move. Now I like to call this one the daily grease job. At our age, getting up in a new country shouldn't sound like snap, crackle, pop. We're not training for the Olympics. We are, however, training for longevity. So the goal is 10 minutes of morning mobility in order to lubricate those joints and stretch those muscles before you hit the streets. If you don't, your body's going to file a formal grievance against you by lunchtime. So this first one, you can just start right in bed. Just kind of reach your arms out long to create space in your spine. Also, think about putting some distance between you and your choices from last night. Next up here is knee to chest. Here, we're just going to hug our knee towards your chest. Think of it like a hug for your hip flexors, especially if they've been cramped in an airplane seat or a car for too long. And just switch sides. I recommend maybe 5-10 seconds might be all you need. If you need more, go ahead and do it. After that, go ahead and drop your knees over to one side. That'll help release the lower back a little bit. Just do each side. Again, maybe 5-10 seconds. If you need to, do it a couple times. Now, we don't want to forget our feet. They are the foundation. I like to start with a simple plantar stretch. I do these before I even get out of bed. Just pull the toes back and ease into the arch. This is how you keep a walking tour from turning into interpretive limping after day 3 on cobblestones. So next up, we've got calf raises. Here we're going to build the strength to handle those miles of hills and uneven pavement. This will also help stretch out your fascia, which is especially important if you have heel pain like I do. It's simple, boring, but it's absolutely essential. Start with a 1 second at the bottom, and then 3 seconds up. Hold for a second at the top. So I recommend doing 10 or 15. Honestly, as many as you can would be great. If both feet is too easy for you, or maybe you're doing over 20 reps, then go ahead and swap out to 1 foot. Now here's a really easy one. You can do this in the morning like I do, or you can do it throughout the day, and that is simply some side stretches. We're releasing the tension from sleeping, and possibly that suitcase that just wouldn't quite close. All right, and our last movement here is also really simple. Think of it just a sit to stand. It's probably the least glamorous exercise on earth, but it's the one that keeps you mobile. Now you just want to come down to parallel. If that is too difficult, or if you're not sure where parallel is, you can always use a chair and just squat down until you just barely touch the edge of that chair and then come right back up. Another couple modifiers, you can always just hold on to something like the back of a chair, a table, the bed, just anything, whatever helps stabilize you for this movement. Doing maybe 2 sets of 8 to 10. Now finally, let's talk about walking. Outside of football or soccer for my American audience there, walking seems to be the main sport in Europe. But you can't go from normal life to 20,000 steps a day without some consequences. Science says that the more you walk, the longer you're going to live. So in a way, it's kind of like the ultimate longevity tool. But you got to start building your baseline now. You want to aim for 6,000 to 7,000 steps a day at home. If you can build that tolerance now, you'll actually be able to enjoy the museum tours later instead of just looking for the nearest bench. So next is fuel. Now, I love a bakery just as much as the next guy, maybe a little bit more.
face, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
But if your entire diet is whatever you find near the train station, your energy levels are going to be more volatile than the local currency. Now, it's said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I totally agree with that, and that's why we use it more as our foundational meal. Now, we end up losing about 3 to 8% of our muscle mass every decade after we get around age 35 to 40. Now, this is where protein becomes our best friend. Our muscles get less and less efficient at utilizing the protein that we eat. This is especially more so as we get into our 60s and beyond. And for at least one meal a day, ideally do this with every meal, but you want to anchor that with protein and fiber. This will help keep you fuller, as well as protect that muscle mass and your energy levels. Also, don't forget to add fiber to at least one meal a day, if not every meal a day. It's a lot easier to do than you might think. Simply adding a piece of fruit, maybe a salad, or some vegetables to each meal will do wonders, and your digestion will send you a thank you note. I usually stick to Greek yogurt, some granola, and some fruit at breakfast, but you do whatever works for you. Maybe that's eggs or meat or some tofu, as long as you're getting the protein and the fiber base, and before those bakeries start calling your name. So another thing to consider is that we actually lose between 8 and 16 ounces of water overnight when we sleep. That's basically half to one, almost an entire bottle of water. So an easy hack for this is the first thing when you get up is just drink a glass of water. Ideally do so before you even have your coffee. Also, a good tip is maybe drink a glass of water before your first bite of a meal. It's going to not only keep you hydrated, but also it'll help keep you with control your appetite a little bit more, so that you can actually be a functioning adult when you're near a plate of cookies and not a victim of them. Now, pillar 3 is recover. Travel and even daily life basically keeps our brains in this high input mode, where we've got new sounds, maybe new beds that we're dealing with, or even new languages. If you don't signal to your brain that it's time to rest, you're just going to end up being wired and stressed. And that's not a good combination if you're wanting to get good sleep and be recovered and ready to go for the next day. So that's where the screen curfew comes in. At least 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed, we want to turn all the screens off. Phones, computers, TVs, not just one more episode of Ted Lasso. Dark. Now, your brain needs to know that it's safe to sleep. Even if the bed feels like plywood and you've got a bunch of stray cats outside your window doing vocal warm-ups. That really happened. So instead of scrolling or binging, try this. Read 5 to 10 pages of a physical book. Maybe a few minutes of gentle stretching, neck, hips, ankles, whatever seems to be screaming at you the most. Meditation is another option. Maybe just 10, 15 minutes, working on simple breath work or even visualization. Or use a gratitude journal to write down 3 good things from your day's travels or experiences. So that brings us to the stress reset. If you find yourself in a stressful situation, maybe it's at the airport or at a train station, or maybe your rideshare is running behind. Now try the 4-4-4 method. You may have also heard this as the box method. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to inhale through our nose for 4 seconds. We're going to hold our breath for 4 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for about 4 seconds through the mouth. After that, repeat that 4 times. So it's a quick reset that will help bring those stress levels down. Starting off with about 65 beats per minute. And we'll check at the end here and I'll show you just how much it dropped my heart rate. This is a really great one too. If you're back at the hotel, you can lie on the floor with your legs up against the wall or even a bed for a few minutes and just relax. It's going to lower your heart rate and help circulation after a long day of walking. It's also a great way to accidentally attract a small crowd if you try to do this in public. As you can see, after about 2 minutes, I dropped my pulse down to 52 beats a minute. Now finally, the most important anchor is connect. Now you could be in the crowds of thousands of people, yet still feel invisible to all but the street vendors and pickpockets. Now, I know most of you travel with a partner, and Michelle and I are with each other 24/7. Now, she's my best friend. We can't be each other's entire world. If you only talk to each other, you're just living in a mobile echo chamber. External interaction is the fresh air that you and your relationship needs. It keeps you from becoming one of those couples who sit in a beautiful cafes in total silence, just staring at their phones. We're social creatures by design. A quick conversation with a stranger lowers your stress levels and also makes you feel less like an outsider looking in. So the mission here is one intentional conversation a day with someone who isn't your travel partner. Now, arguing with the chatbot online about your flight cancellation doesn't count, nor does commenting on a Facebook post either. Go talk to the guy at the fruit stand or ask the barista how to say this coffee is amazing in the local language. Or maybe call a friend back home who knew you before all you wore was zip-off pants and a backpack everywhere. Now this helps keep you grounded, but it also helps remind you that you're actually a part of the place that you're visiting, not just a spectator that's watching through a window. So now let's go ahead and recap those 4 daily anchors of the Travel Ready system. First one is move. Go ahead and start that 10-minute daily grease job every morning and build that walking base now. The second one, fuel. Focus on your foundational meal with protein and fiber, and don't forget to drink your water, especially before your coffee. Third one is recover. Use that 30-minute or longer screen curfew and have that breathing reset ready for when travel gets a bit hectic. And then of course the fourth one is connect. Make one real-world human connection every single day. This isn't a vacation routine that you can just kind of start and stop. Think of this more as a foundation for your health that allow you to keep exploring for as long as you want to. Treat these 4 goals like your daily travel checklist. I went ahead and put it all together as a daily routine checklist that you can grab from the description below. You can go ahead and print that out, keep it on your phone so there's no excuses. Comment challenge accepted if you're in, and then come back in about a week and let me know what improved first. Was it your energy levels? Maybe it was your sleep. Or was it those 50-year-old or older knees? So in the next video, we're gonna go over the safety side of this. We're gonna go over the pre-trip health systems that you need to set up before you leave. Now be sure you're subscribed. Also like the video and share it with anyone else that you might be traveling with or who's going to be traveling soon. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you in the next one, and happy wandering.